A very good evening to you and a warm welcome to this week's edition of Breeding to Win, where we're less than 2 weeks away from this year's Vodacom Durban July, and things are starting to heat up down in KwaZulu-Natal. The three talking horses at the stage, all of Doing It Again, Rainbow Bridge and Hawam, have come through their preps extremely well. So now all attention will be on the barrier draws and the final field announcement, which will take place this coming Tuesday, the 25th of June. Right now, let's take a look at what's on tonight's show. We feature the Claverflay Farm Sale highlights. You have an opportunity to participate in a Vercingetorix colt with Brett Crawford. We bring you another Freeman stallion. Fee catches up with Pippa Mickelbrough about Miss Frankel. And last but not least, we bring you an update on Horizon. The ever-popular Claverflay Farm Sale took place this past weekend, and it was one day of a 3-day festival. The Breeding to Win team enjoyed the festivals this past weekend and bring you this highlights package.
The Claverflay Farm Sale took place last weekend, and what a fabulous festival of fun we all had. Guests started to arrive from around the country on Thursday to enjoy a great day's golf on Friday, sponsored by Kuda Insurance. This was once again held in Robertson, and this year the weather played ball and a magnificent day was had by all. We're here at the Claverflay Farm Sale, and what a beautiful setting it is, and we're also looking forward to enjoying some Jan Hamskat wines this afternoon. Mitch is with me to tell me a little bit more, and my Afrikaans is not great, so I do hope I pronounced the wine correctly. Mitch, well, lovely to see you here today, and what beautiful wines you've got for us.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we've got a good couple of wines. It's a small boutique winery based in the Robertson Wine Valley, and we're going to be showcasing some couple of reds to the people and some Sauvignon Blanc. And yeah, it's all boutique, minimal interference wine and small volumes.
The packaging and your bottles looks absolutely lovely, because that's nothing better than an eye-catching label on a bottle of wine as well.
Yes, definitely. It's, as I said, boutique, and we mainly supply to higher-end restaurants. That's our clientele, and higher-end LSM. So we're not really a retail brand at all. So very small volumes, minimal interference as well, winemaking.
Trainer Mace Roberts attends the Claverflay Farm Sale every year and always has some success here with his purchases. Mace, it's an absolutely fantastic sale, isn't it? Lots of fun, good vibe, as well as good horses.
Yes, very much so. You know, it's I've been lucky here. We bought a few nice horses here, and you know, such a nice vibe, and you know, and especially like today, it's the most beautiful day, and we're so blessed to be, you know, here in such a beautiful setting, you know, and the hospitality is fantastic, and you know, it's a couple of days of real fun, I must say.
The festivities started to roll in the evening, and the hype was building for the 2-day sale ahead. The Claverflay drivers did a great job of ferrying the guests to and from the guest houses to the golf course and the farm for viewing. The sale kicked off at 3 p.m. where 120 lots were to go under the hammer. Graham Hawkins and Andrew Miller in the hot seat, while the rest of us thoroughly enjoyed the generous hospitality. Superb food and beverages being served in a very tastefully decorated marquee. Lots of heaters to keep us warm going into the evening, which is another story. More food flowing and great music to get the party started, which went into the early hours of Sunday. Sunday saw a few dark glasses, but off we go again for 66 lots of mares, foals and weanlings. As everyone made their way home on Sunday afternoon, I think we can safely say a great weekend was had by all.
Ashley and Andrew Fortune are having a great deal of success on the racetrack, and we're watching them closely, and they're also doing very well at the farm sale. This is their second year that they've purchased here, and they've gone away with a few nice fillies today. Ashley, you must be pleased with your purchases.
Yeah, I think we've got a couple of nice bargains out there tonight. Very great sale from Claverflay.
Some really nice horses come off this sale, as we know, and I thought they looked really, really well today. For this time of year, they had great coats and they looked like a nice bunch.
Yeah, no, they've prepped them really well for a farm sale. I mean, you expect them to look rough, and credit to them, you know, the horses are really well turned out.
It's been a good sale for trainer Vaughan Marshall, and I think he will agree. We've had some very nice horses gone through the ring today. Vaughan, I thought it was a real quality catalogue with some lovely horses on today's sale.
Definitely, Fia. Certainly the best catalogue that they've had in the 9 years that the farm sale's been going. It really was a good catalogue to buy horses from.
Sean Terry always supports the Claverflay farm sale, and once again today he's probably one of our top buyers, bought about 10 horses, and yeah, it's lovely to have him here at the sale. Sean, very happy with what you purchased today?
Yes, it's a lovely sale. I thought the catalogue was as strong as it's ever been, and there was generally very good quality out there, and as it turned out, a lot of value to be had.
Of course, John Costa is the man behind the whole Claverflay sale and putting on this whole event, and what a wonderful event it has been. John, you must be very pleased with the way things have gone.
No, it's been great, Fee. You know, we all know that the industry is in a touch of trouble. So for everybody who's made the effort to come out here today and be with us on the farm and have this country atmosphere, it's been fabulous once again. And, you know, I always say it, to get all these great people in this tent together, and the banter and the laughter and the cheer, you know, it's not a pressure sale like other sales, and it's just great fun as well.
Well, I've heard so much positivity today. Everybody had a fantastic day on the golf course, and everybody loved the way your horses looked today. They turned out beautifully. They really, really did look well for this time of year.
Yeah, our team's done a great job. You know, they really are professional. They're extremely professional, and they're really good. And you saw all our grooms afterwards, you know, giving the crowd a clap and the crowd giving them a clap. And, you know, that's what this industry is about, Fee. We work together in harmony, and you know, we work for each other, and I think that's extremely important. So yeah, just to everybody who came out for the weekend, thank you so much.
It was a super catalogue, and I've heard lots of comments today just how good the horses were, well bred, and as I said, really well turned out.
Yeah, look, we do it differently in the farm sale. You know, we don't prepare them like we do for other sales. But it's amazing, you know, the real horsemen come out and they tell you, and they know, they can see through coats. So it's been like this for 9 years. We've bred some fabulous horses on the sale, and I think this year particularly, you know, we had a lot of new stallions, you know, like the Captain of Alls and Coup de Grace, and they sold extremely well. And I think, you know, I really think that the buyers enjoy buying horses like that, because when they get home, you know, 2-3 months' time, you don't recognize them.
And a sad moment, because your last Captain L went through the ring.
Yeah, very much so, you know, and it's the end of an era for us. But as Graham said, it's such a privilege to be selling his son, who was sold at this sale, to be selling foals out of Captain of All. So it's come the full circle. He's got a lot of daughters that have got progeny on the sale as well. And he's doing fabulously well as a brood messiah. So lots and lots to look forward to.
Absolutely, so it goes on. But we can't thank you enough for the hospitality. It's been absolutely fantastic. The wine's been flowing, the food's been fantastic, and the music's just getting going. So we're in for a fun evening.
No, it's going to be great fun. You know, Antoinette events, they are just fabulous. The food that they make here is unbelievable. And as I said earlier, you know, our pop's going to start playing just now, and we have that honky-tonk country atmosphere here, and everybody has a great time. So it's just fabulous, and it's a privilege for us to have everybody at Claverflay.
on the inside. Lancaster Bomber, who's battling back as they go towards the line. Lancaster Bomber and True Valor very close.
Lancaster Bomber is now being ridden along.
All in line here. They're off in the juvenile turn. Lancaster Bomber, Good Samaritan is closing on the far outside, but it's Oscar Performance by 4. Lancaster Bomber.
And Barney Roy on the near side now has moved through to Lancaster Bomber and Thunder Snow. Barney Roy in front as they race for the shadows of the post.
They're off, and a great start in the Rico Woodbine Mile. 5 wide, Lancaster Bomber is there, but it is Weldon Rubel who slips away. Weldon Rubel in front, right down the outside, finishing on is Mondial East and Lancaster Bomber.
All set for the Breeders' Cup Mile, and away they go. Lancaster Bomber down at the rail, late run from Carrara on the outside.
Tattersalls Gold Cup.
Yes, that's it, the racing.
And Lancaster Bomber, can he follow up his maiden of a couple of years ago and get another success? It's only his second ever success, but it's a Group 1 win in the Tattersalls Gold Cup. Makes all Lancaster Bomber wins.
Vercingetorix has made an excellent start to his stallion career, with his first crop of 2-year-olds already catching the eye on the racetrack. Tonight, Brett Crawford tells us about one that's caught his eye at the sales recently.
Brett Crawford bought a very nice Vercingetorix colt at the National Yearling Sales this year, and there are shares available, and Brett is with me this morning to have a chat about the colt. Brett, a very exciting colt out of Jamboree and a family that you're very familiar with.
Yeah, very much so, Fee. You know, he's an October foal. Vercingetorix, as we all know, started his stud career exceptionally well. I think he's had 11 or 12 2-year-old winners already. And obviously the Crosswell Silvano goes back to Waving Flag, which we won the Gold Cup with. So obviously Waving Flag was out of Garland, and this is a daughter of Garland that the Vercingetorix is out of. So yeah, I mean, we liked him. He's a nice scopy individual. Looks like a horse that will definitely go a bit of a trip. And like I say, he's a late foal, so he's got a lot of maturing to do. So we're quite excited with the prospect.
Yeah, he does sound a very exciting individual indeed, and a good looker as well. For the time being, he's on the farm, but we'll come to you when.
Well, I'm actually going to go and look at him some point towards the end of July and make a decision as to when we think he needs to be sent in to go and be broken in. Once we've made that decision, it'll probably be in August sometime. I'll send him in and he'll get broken in. And then generally he's on the pre-training farm for 6 weeks or 2 months, and then he'll come in. So probably not looking to get into my yard specifically much before October, but you know, that can change depending on how he's matured and how he looks.
The syndicates seem to be the way to go in racing, and that's what you're trying to do with this horse, and hopefully we can get some people interested.
Yeah, look, I think syndication is a big thing. It's something that needs to be, in my opinion, needs to be put out there a lot more to give the man in the street the opportunity of getting involved in racing. The more people in a syndicate, obviously the less expensive it becomes. So it's definitely the right way to go, and we'll be doing our best to put a few together.
Yeah, you can certainly have a lot of fun with a syndicate, and it'd be great to bring some new people into racing.
Yeah, that's actually our market that we're planning on targeting. We've got a few sportsmen that we're looking to get involved. So yeah, but if anyone's interested, they're welcome to get hold of me, and we'll do our best to help them.
Does this horse have a name yet?
He doesn't at the moment. He doesn't have a name. So once we get all the owners together, we probably have a bit of a get together, and we'll see if we can come up with something special for him.
Well, it's good to have Brett on the show, and this Vercingetorix colt sounds a very exciting individual indeed. So if you are interested, get in touch with Brett Crawford and his team.
What a Winter was a unique racehorse blessed with precocity, speed, and a brilliant temperament. The lightning-fast sprinting son of Western Winter won 15 races, including 4 Grade 1s, the Computerform Sprint, the Cape Flying Championship twice, and the Mercury Sprint. In short, he was a world-class sprinter.
What a Winter is flying down the inside, and What a Winter has won the Computerform Sprint. What a Winter, what a sprinter.
Get to the front of the right time to win it.
The impeccably bred Miss Frankel is in good form at the moment and is most definitely the apple of Pippa Mickleborough's eye. Fee catches up with Pippa and chats to her about this beautifully bred filly.
We've touched on Miss Frankel a few times on the show, but it's lovely this morning to get the full story. She was born here at Avontuur Stud, and no better person to tell us the full story than Pippa Mickleborough. Pippa, lovely to be here this morning at Avontuur. It's a beautiful morning.
Welcome back.
Now, Miss Frankel, we know she's famous. She's got her own Facebook page. She's raced, she's won. But where did it all start?
I think if you have to go back in the breeding game, you always look at the stallions seem to be the easy topic everybody talks about, but us purebred breeders, we talk about the mare. And it goes back many years ago when there was a dispersal sale in Zimbabwe, and the late Tony Tabor and I earmarked a few mares, and one of the mares we bought was Lupin. So Lupin arrived. She was a daughter of Tilden, who was a son of Bold Ruler. So she arrived here, and she was a good raceman Zim, and obviously Zim form not as good as our form, but to me the mating to Eliodor was special. So off she went to Eliodor, and this beautiful filly called Manelli arrived. We were delighted, obviously, because by then Eliodor had started to make his name as a wonderful brood messiah. And I suppose our intentions might have been to sell Manelli, but fate handed us a cruel blow. Manelli was about 4 months of age when Lupin broke her shoulder, mom. So Lupin lost her mom at 4 months, and because we had no daughters, Manelli was retained by the farm. And then going forward, her training career, she went into training with David Ferraris. We hadn't had a horse with David, but he's been to me, he was a top trainer when he was here in South Africa and a dear friend. And off Manelli went, and I think she won 2 or 3 with David. She was very talented, and she came down we had great excitement. She came down to run the Fillies Guineas of that year. I think she started favourite. And strangely enough, she didn't win it. She ran just out the placings, I think. But Sports Chestnut won it, who eventually came to retire to stud at Avontuur as well. But in that race, Manelli broke down, and she retired then, unfortunately. So we knew how good Manelli was, but she did a knee, and it was quite a bad fracture. So she retired to Avontuur many years ago.
And she is the mother of Valdera.
Yeah.
So she is Miss Frankel's grandmother.
So now we've gone great-grandmother, grandmother, now we get to Valdera. So then obviously Manelli retired to stud, and Manelli's been a prolific broodmare. You know, one talks about Valdera because I think that was the pinnacle of what she produced. But up until Valdera, she'd had numerous Bull Black type horses, obviously of which Tevez is maybe the most famous, but there's so many. She's really and truly a matriarch of Aventure. And obviously when VAR retired to stud, we obviously needed to give him the best mares, and Manelli was the first mare VAR ever covered. So strangely enough, it's interesting that the first mare ever covered became his greatest daughter, and the press was all excited because he was a great stallion to come to South Africa. He had a huge power pedigree and a power racing performance, and everybody was excited. And he's a black horse with a big white face, and Manelli's dark bay, and we were great excitement. She delivered a chestnut with a big white face. So for a long time I sort of told a few little white lies that we hadn't had a VAR yet, because everybody wanted to see the VARs and I had his chestnut. So I think everybody thought it maybe would be by Dominion Royale or something. And then the next one was a grey. Oh my word. So it took a long time before we showed everybody Valdera, and we obviously then worked towards producing those first crop of VARs for the national sales of that year.
And how did Valdera get to go for a service with Frankel?
I think we should go back a little bit, because we then sent Valdera to the auction sale, and Tony Tabor had passed away 2 or 3 weeks before the sales, so he never got to see the first VAR sell. And I was sort of under direction from trustees out of the country, and very stressful and a very emotional time, because it was his dream to see VAR in this country. And we'd had a magnificent sale. Valdera was due to go in the ring, I think, the last half hour on day 4, and everybody knows on day 4 nobody's there, especially the last half an hour. And normally as a vendor I would put a reserve and then put refer, so if you're close to your reserve and it's you sell it. But this time with her I put 400,000 rand and I went to the ladies, Lou. I wasn't going to be tempted. I said to them, we've sold so well, we have to keep one VAR. And I came out and I said, the first person I saw was John Kramer, and he said, but why didn't you sell it? You were live at 375. I said, because we have to keep one. So that was the story with why we retained Valdera. And then going into her training, I phoned my friend Mark de Kock. I thought, let me get a VAR into Mark's yard. He's the top trainer, he's the guy. And he said, no. He said, Papa, I don't train sprinters as well. Phone Dennis. And that's how Valdera eventually ended up at Dennis Dry, because Mark said Dennis is the right man for the VARs. So it's interesting how it all worked around, and now, you know, Mark trains VARs. It's actually it's a little circle of life, and that's how the dream arrived with Dennis and her career with Dennis.
Fantastic story, because now obviously Miss Frankel is with Dennis, so it's sort of gone full circle.
So then taking her out the country, she retires. She's undefeated. She ran, I think she won 13 of her 14, broke down in the last one, so I don't think she got defeated. She broke down as the pens opened. So to me, she's, you know, who she was, champion sprinter of South Africa. But now what do you do with her? Because in South Africa there were only a few stallions that were, for me, good enough. 1 or 2 had issues, pedigree, that didn't work with her. So I thought, you know, let's dream big, let's get her out the country, and off we went. She handled it amazingly well. You must also remember she was very sick a few times in training, so we were nervous, but she handled it well. And her first covering was to Oasis Dream, because we thought maybe Frankel, I don't think Frankel hadn't retired to stud that year, that's right. So we had to do something first, so we did Oasis Dream, looked after by a dear friend Walter, who's now currently in South Africa managing a stud farm in Robertson. And then she went to Frankel. Listen, you know, that was a very expensive little exercise, and I can never forget when the contract arrived and the fee was there, and I said to the lady, I phoned the lady, I said, but what happens, you had to pay the fee when the mare was 45 days pregnant, the whole fee. We're talking lots of money, lots of pounds here. So I said to the lady, I said, but what happens if she doesn't have the foal? Can I come back? Do I get a refund? And the sort of phone went quiet, and she said, I don't understand, Pippa, what's the question? I said, but if I pay all the money when she's 45 days pregnant and then she loses it at 70 days, she said, I don't know, insure the fetus. So, oh my word, so we had to then insure the fetus as well. And listen, we brought her back in foal to Frankel, and with her Oasis Dream at foot.
So what a process. How long did that whole process take? Obviously getting her there, getting her in foal, bringing her back?
I suppose in total 4 years. And in hindsight, which is a wonderful science, I was very brave, if you think back what Pippa did, with obviously Tabra's backing, but I should have left her there. I shouldn't have brought her back, because now, what do I do with her now, you know? You've got to go to stallions, they're getting old, the top boys, where do you go? I wish she was there. But it was getting expensive, and I had a young team of owners now who were obviously learning the ropes. Mr. Tabor would have been brave and said, leave her there, go to Galileo next. I can just hear his voice, you know. But she came home, and I'm delighted to have her home here. She's at home at Aventure. Yeah.
Well, Miss Frankel's has been a lovely story. She was obviously born here on the farm, and she's quite a flashy individual, isn't she?
Yeah, listen, I think for hindsight, if you look back, I would have loved a colt. Wouldn't that be nice to have a Frankel colt standard studded Aventure? But anyway, she arrived, and social media being what it is, I mean, as I've said, the young guns that own this farm, they're more into it than me. We decided, I thought, let me make a Facebook page for her. And obviously it has good sides to it and it has the bad side. The good side for me was it was just a nice page to show people how she's growing, keep them up to date with how Frankel's doing, because he was a phenomenon. But some people, you know, took it a bit too seriously and, you know, knocked her and said X, Y, Z. But actually, to be honest, I really don't mind about that, because she's done more than I could ask. She's earned her Bull Black type now. She's had a setback or two, but they're minor setbacks, and I think they were just tendencies to immaturity. She showed so much speed, but I think physically she was still immature. She's now a big, strong girl like her mom, and very professional about her outlook on life. And she has to do no more. But again, the question comes, what do you do with her when she finishes now?
But she's had 8 starts now for what? 3 wins and 2 places.
Yeah, and Bull Black type. So now she's now going to have a little rest and come back down to the Western Cape. And, you know, she's had bad luck down here. It hasn't worked for her. But we can't leave her there. And I don't think Joburg's an option. So there's so many lovely fillies races down here. Hopefully she's more mature now. She can handle the razzmatazz that goes with it. But I'm going to bring her down ahead of Dennis's string and give her time to just chill a little bit here and give her enough time to settle, because she said she's had 2 bad experiences down here.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see her in the Cape Summer season. But now she's had a few jockeys riding her, but Keegan de Mello seems to have really gelled. He's won on her, and he seems to be doing exceptionally well with her.
Listen, jockeys are, you know, really, I try not to tell trainers what to do with jockeys. I can't recall why Keegan got on her. I think Anton got off her. I don't quite know, and Keegan got on. So he must stick with her until something goes wrong. I think he rides her every day at work, and he knows her well. And yeah, she's a big race horse. She's a big, everybody's watching her, so you have to have a bit of a cool, calm, collected temperament. And I think he suits her.
Yeah. She's got a lovely work rider, hasn't she? Is it Carrie that rides her?
Yes, Carrie rides her every day she's done it from day one, actually. But she's been a very straightforward horse, but I think the pressure, we created a little bit of the monster, but it wasn't meant to be like that. So nobody put Dennis under pressure or the filly under pressure, any jockeys, but it's just the nature of the beast. I mean, the Frankels that have run in South Africa have been a little bit disappointing. She hasn't. You know, maybe the Facebook page and all the following has been quite hard on people, but I try to play it down all the time and try and give them enough feedback on her Facebook page about how Frankel's doing at Ascot this week, so we don't just stick to doing Miss Frankel.
And when she had her first setback, she obviously came back here to recover, and then she went to Julia Pilbeam's for a while, didn't she, to sort of get ready to go back into training?
Yeah, obviously with here in Aventure there's a limit to what I can do as far as exercise is concerned. It's not my area of expertise. So she had a lot of rest here, she had shockwave therapy here, but it was a minor injury, but really and truly we all put it down to growth, so we had to give her the time. She stayed here under box rest I think for 4 months, and she grew a good, she arrived at 15.2 and she left at 16 hands. And 4 months, that's a huge growth spurt for any horse. And then Julia took her and went through the paces with her and got her to a certain level. And that's the plan going forward now. I'm going to bring her back to Julia. Let her have a month in the paddock and Julia can get her trotting again. And then when Dennis arrives at Philippi, we'll join up. So she would have had a month ahead of the other raiders, so a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, absolutely sounds the way to go, and just that extra time again might just help her to get through the Cape season.
I think so, and I think, you know, at the end of the day, I've always sort of run this farm in my life, tick all the boxes you can. If it doesn't work well, you can say you did your best. I don't want to have any, loops. She'll travel on her own. I don't want any troubles on the trucks. We'll do everything we can to make it work, but win, lose or draw, no matter what now, she's earned her Bull Black type. Does she deserve to stay in South Africa? That's my next dilemma. Because hopefully by then we might have the export open. And then a horse like her should really leave. I mean, she's a Frankel listed winner out of a champion race mare with beautiful female line. Surely we could do well overseas, maybe a few years and bring her back. I don't know, but those are all things to think about in the future.
Lots of options for her future. But thank you very much for taking the time this morning. It's a lovely story, and hopefully we'll come and get some new shots of her when she comes here for a holiday.
Absolutely. And then maybe, we'll obviously talk about her sister going to the auction, and then maybe we can do something about Mom and Mom foals. Maybe we can tee it up, because she's safely in foal to Silvano. She's due 1st of August. She's my first mare to foal, and I think she'd have to go back to Silvano. He's the champion-elect, so we'll stick with the big boy until he's gone.
Fantastic, a lovely story, and I really hope she does well in the Cape season as well here.
I hope so too. Thanks for coming, Fee.
Thank you, Pippa. What a wonderful story, Miss Frankel. I've been following her on Facebook. The team have been out here and filmed her a few times. Looking forward to seeing her again back in the paddocks. But her racing career is not over yet. There's plenty more in the tank for Miss Frankel.
The 5.2 million rand son of Dynasty, Horizon, made headlines at the 2015 Cape Yearling sale when fetching the highest price for a yearling sold in South Africa. The Breeding to Win team visited Horizon at his new home, Hemel and Ada, to find out how he's settling into his new career as a stallion.
Horizon undoubtedly boasts one of the finest pedigrees in the South African stud book. He has settled in very well at David Brown's Hemel and Ada stud. His price tag as a yearling is a true indication of his superior looks and athletic ability, and he is letting down really well. He has two sisters currently in training, and they are performing with distinction. Both Santa Clara and Sanskrit are feature race prospects and have added much value black type to his female line. 3-year-old Santa Clara showed her promise by winning the KRA Fillies Guineas at Greyville in convincing fashion. In that race, she beat home the highly regarded Front and Centre, as well as recent Willavington 2000 Grade 1 winner Silvano's Pride.
And Santa Clara's clear out here, Front and Centre's running late, but Santa Clara will win it.
2-year-old Sanskrit has already won once and placed twice from 4 runs. All her races and distances well short of what is expected to be her best, and she sure looks to be an exciting prospect once she goes around the turn. With blood of both Dynasty and Silvano, Horizon has appealed to leading breeders in the Western Cape. Dynasty's son Liege recently won the Grade 3 Lonsdale Stirrup Cup. On the same day, Silvano tasted double Group 1 success with Silvano's Pride and Hawam winning the Willavington and Daily News respectively.
If this horse had been in England, he probably would have raced as a 3-year-old and gone to stud. That's probably what should have happened to him here. But they tried to race him on because he had the ability. Anybody who doesn't throw 40 grand after him has got to be crazy. He must be worth that in anybody's book.
Yeah, you can see why he was such an expensive horse, and when Mike Bass picks them, they're going to be good.
Yeah, funnily enough, I was speaking to Carol Bash yesterday, and she said, yeah, when Mike picks them, he knows they're going to make it. And regardless of the fact he didn't win a Grade 1, he was terribly unlucky on the track.
Yes, he was, Fee, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he ran the fastest last 400 in the July, and that tells you volumes. Candace was saying he was 2 lengths off them coming into the straight, so very, very unlucky horse. His price certainly wouldn't have been what it is now if he had won a Group 1.
Horizon is the property of a syndicate, and there are few shares available. We believe he is great value at a service fee of 8,000 Rand, the nomination being 2,000 Rand and live foals 6,000 Rand. Be sure to book your mares early.
Well, that's a wrap for this week's edition of Breeding to Win. Don't forget to join us next week for more Breeding to Win action. From myself, Julie Alexander, and the rest of the Breeding to Win team, good night.